Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to RaceFace Sprint Series Season 9 and round number 1 of our Season 9 here at Imola. My name is Stephen Koenig, and joining me in the box, the one, the only, the world's slowest alien, but coming from pros, Jan Price. Jan, how are you doing this evening?
Well, and you, Stephen, I don't know. Yeah, when you said coming from the pros, I don't know so much about that one, but yes, we are back. It's the RaceFace Sprint Series. Tonight, we are at Imola, the home of the, I'm going to try and pronounce it, the Emilia Romagna F1 Formula 1 Grand Prix.
It's absolutely amazing, and defending champions coming back, lots of excitement, lots of new names as well for this championship. Really looking forward to it. But Jan, we know it's going to be a challenging race. We know it's going to be a interesting one. Why don't you take us through a track preview?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Imola is one of those iconic circuits. It's got, you know, those iconic corners like the Acqua Minerale, the chicanes. I mean, that last chicane is a chicane you can either win or lose it at. It's a fast flowing circuit, 1 or 2 hairpins. As we follow that blue line around, that's the Acqua Minerale. I mean, Steve, it can go either horribly wrong there, or, you know, you can score valuable time through there. I spoke about that last chicane, and then as we run those last 2 corners, the Ravazza corners, I mean, we've seen stuff go wrong there. People outbrake themselves, people going into the dirt. I think we're in for an action-packed evening. But if I'm not mistaken, we're running a slightly different format tonight. I mean, 55 minutes, and there's one mandatory pit stop where you need to put in, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at least 1 liter of fuel.
Yep, got to put in 1 liter of fuel to get it all right, and just trying to get into the server at the moment. But I think with a bit of a change up, guys are going to have to figure out what to do, how's it all going to work, what is going to be the best around this track, and well, has a lot of people guessing.
Yeah, it brings a certain aspect of strategy to the race. I think we might see a couple of guys, like they do in the longer version tomorrow evening, doing that early pit stop to try and get into the clear air, try and make up time that way. We're going to see other guys leaving it as late as possible to pit. You know, maybe they want to, maybe they're out in front, maybe they're scoring the good lap times, and they want to leave that pit stop as late as possible. So, as I said previously, it brings a certain amount of strategy in. It's not just, you know, flat out racing from start to finish anymore. As we wait for Stephen to get into the server, Stephen, are you having any luck?
Getting there, I think. It's been a hot minute to do it. So just trying my luck. But while we keep an eye on that, ladies and gentlemen, do apologize for the delay. And yeah, Jan, you going to be racing around the circuit tomorrow? Give us a bit of insight of what to expect.
It definitely is a circuit where track limits can play its part. I mean, there's a couple of corners that it can punish you very hard. Acqua Minerale being one of them. The fast flowing left-hander just in front of it, the final chicane. Even on the final corner, you can score 1 or 2 track cuts. So I'm going to say we need to look out for drive-throughs. That's a real possibility here. That first chicane, as you come down the pit straight, we call it the Variante Tamburello. That's also a place where you need to spot your braking point there very carefully. Otherwise, you're going straight through that gravel trap. That part of the circuit was actually changed post 1994. It used to be one long flowing left-hander through there. So, Steve, interesting times ahead. This definitely is a track where you can make your mistakes and you can definitely gain and lose a lot of time. Gain if you get the flow of the track right, and lose a lot of the time if you get it wrong. I think Stephen is still making his way into the server. As we have a look at this track guide, the green line, that's the last chicane. You can definitely cut that chicane quite a lot. But if you cut it too much, then it unsettles the car and you hurt your exit down to the Ravazza corners. The pit straight here by no means is straight. It's basically a combination of 3 corners, almost 4 corners, until you reach that first chicane. And then it's flat out through there again, through the Variante Tamburello. And as you come down there to the Variante Villeneuve, you've got a very fast entry into that section of corners, but you need to spot your brake marker. Otherwise, you can get your exit wrong and run wide into the gravel there, hurting your run down to the Tosa hairpin. Through Tosa, then it's flat out again, slight braking and for the left-hander until you run down to the Aqua Minerale. Seems like Steven is back.
Yeah, just...
Have you had any luck?
Well, we're trying to get into the server, and it seems like we're battling a little bit. But just listening to you on how the whole setup is, the track itself is going to be rather challenging. Lots of new names and faces coming to RaceFace, especially for the season, and it's going to be an exciting championship. As we know, the sprint series going and trying out something new, a new setup, and well, I think everyone at RaceFace has decided to go back to the world of working in a lab, rubbing your hands together and going, ha ha ha, watch this. A hold my drink situation. I would, hold my apple juice, if I can put it that way.
Hold your apple juice, you say?
Yes, a hold my apple juice situation. But a big thank you to everyone joining us in the comments as well. Glad to have you guys. It's really, really amazing to have the feedback. We do apologize for the little bit of a delay.
Did they change the password?
It's a little bit different. No one wants to deal with me, it seems. They're deciding that I'm not quite the...
Have you been kicked from the server?
I've been royally muted. No, but it looks like we're getting into it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for bearing in mind with everything that's going on. Really, really do appreciate it. And well,
I see Bago says on the stream, cool story, but where's the race? Well, Bago, we're trying to find it. It's somewhere around Italy. We're on our way.
It's getting there. Just got to get the whole thing set up to run properly. All right, well, we're moving into the race now as we jump on board with Gloshkin as he makes his way through the circuit. But, ladies and gentlemen, with 5 minutes of qualifying to go, Ryan Ottens is in first place, followed by Demetros Petro. We got Fenter, Kruger, Esterhuis, Van der Merwe, Sanjan Pillay joining in. He's in 7th place. Rion Fenter, Gideon Reyna in 9th. Christian de Bastos, Paul Gerber, Boersma, Hannes van Wyk. I mean, the list goes on and on, but we've got to also say big welcome to a few guys that are returning names like Jason Absmeyer. It's been a while, it's been a very long time since we've seen him going and joining in with the racing. Glad to see him come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason Absmeyer has been away from ACC for a while, if I'm not mistaken, Stephen. Utilizing some other sims, but he's decided to make his way back. And it would be interesting to see, what damage the time away from ACC has done to the pace. I mean, I'm talking here out of first-hand experience. It's hurt my pace quite a lot, the time that I spent away from it.
Now, I think we're not going to see too much of a drop-off from these pros. They're absolutely incredible stuff. A couple of guys unable to make it due to load shedding, but also sending in a lot of their thoughts and prayers to everyone that's heading into T1, especially for round number 1, season 9. I mean, that's kind of an exciting thing. Such as Sebastian Grant going and saying that he's going to be having 1 or 2 sips of his apple juice and cheering from the sidelines for his team. And looking forward to seeing what's going out. Also some interesting new names like Koketo Polani jumping in. He's part of the AKK Kados team, ASIP team. good to see Koketso Polani represented South Africa. We saw a little bit of him, I would say, towards the last 2-3 races of the RaceFace Medal State Grid, or the Medal State Grid Championship. And it's good to see him jumping into the Mercedes once again, not opting for one of the newer cars, which does make you wonder, because we've had the recent update of the new Ferrari, the new Porsche, the new Lamborghini coming into play, and it does look like the new Ferrari of Ryan Ottens, who's managed to put in a 140.7, has really taken to the top. Kylian Reiner in second place in one of the newer Porsches. The new cars have started working, but a lot more favoritism towards the Porsches and the Ferraris.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to say to you. It almost looks like a Ferrari and Porsche Cup. But that's something you always see when the new cars are launched. The guys giving the new cars a go, and it's kind of always like that. And then after a while, they either stick with the new cars or they go back to their, old faithfuls that they have been driving in the past.
It's absolutely amazing, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. But one thing I'm going to start off the season that's not going to be a fan favorite, the rear of this car looks like a Dino Ferrari that just got squished.
But isn't that what it's supposed to look like? Not the squished part, I'm talking about the Dino.
I don't think the Italians would like me too much for saying their Ferrari looks like it's been stood on. But
well, you know, knocking the Italians. Previously, you've been knocking the Germans with the BMW, and I only see so far 2 BMWs out on the circuit. So you need to find something new to talk about.
Well, that's it, and a couple of other things like the Lamborghini that De Villiers is running. De Villiers now part of the PWSR team. Good to see that he's back out there, and also the likes of Darren Miller, who's also out there. Interesting enough to see the Lamborghinis going for more what the Trofeos did with the airbox on the top covering over. So it's good to see that a couple of the Lambos have managed to make it. But we do have the old faithfuls around that we cannot take away from. I mean, we do have the likes of Musa in the BMW. That is going out and having a bit of fun out there, deciding not to go with one of the new cars. Koketso Polani, Kleinans also opting to go for the older Mercedes. And then even further back, and I think it's maybe Paul Herber and Hannes van Wyk have decided that they're going to be proper boomers, and they're going to go back to the old Aston Martin.
I mean, that Aston Martin is just a proper car. I mean, I'm actually going to say this sim does not do that car justice.
Well, you get to see the real thing in real life. So, with the big burly V8s that got a sound effect. So, this is where it gets very interesting. But at the moment, no one has been able to dethrone Ryan Ottens. 140.6, Christian Venter only doing a 140.9, not able to better it, so 0.2 of a second down. Jason McGregor in third place at the moment with Kylian Reiner, Daniel Dematros Petro, Mac van der Merwe. Koketso Polani's also decided he's had enough. SES to Hayes, Sanjan Pillay, Jan Kleinans, Ruben Venter, Cameron de Bastos. So it's also Cameron de Bastos back again, but also some new sponsors on board with a lot of these cars, which we'll touch on to. And Paul Herber back out. He's still trying to make a bit of movement, but is down on his delta at the moment. So every single one of these guys just trying to push the envelope a little bit further for the race. And I'm very, very interested to see how the season's going to go. For anyone that isn't aware of the Sprint Series, well, welcome to an entirely new Sprint Series where we've added a pit stop. We've added more time on the clock. It's just turned and flipped it on its head. Whatever you thought about it, it is now turned into a proper little race. But eight rounds, one every week, the day before the Medal State Grid Championship Season 3. That's tomorrow night. But I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how it all turns out. At the moment, it does look like everyone's decided they're going to be pulling in the pits. A couple of guys opting to come into the pits normally, which I'm glad to actually see that. But it's time for Imola. we out to Italy. We in for insanity. I don't know about the circuit, but it just keeps calling you, keeps coming back. And honestly, with the rich history that it has, I'm really, really looking forward to how it's all going to turn out.
I mean, absolutely. We mentioned earlier on that it's one of those iconic circuits. First corner to negotiate the chicane on the first corner, but I think we're going to have some serious action on our hands, Stephen. These guys are going to go out first race of the season and are going to go out to prove a point.
Well, if it's even more exciting, I've just got to chuck it out there. Chaps, 41 cars lining up on a Wednesday night for the pros is just mind-boggling. 41 cars. It's going to be busy out on the circuit, and just looking from the sky here, new names, new sponsors, a whole lot of fun. I can't wait to see this. This is just, it's the returning of the old, it's returning of the new. It's all out on Imola, but mind-boggling with the amount of vehicles all lined up, and just, wow. It brings a tear to your eye. That's all I can say.
Tear to your eye, and the track is gonna be busy. I mean, we've got 30 seconds before the start of the formation lap. Guys are starting to drop down and get the car started up.
Well,
and just look back at it, Stephen. Just look at all those cars. When last did we see this?
I think it's going to be a very busy T1. I won't lie. It's going to be exciting. That's for certain. It's going to be really, really exciting, and hang on for dear life. This is all I can say. Hang on for dear life. We're in for a really, really fun time, and we've also gone and experimented with a few things for everyone as well. So I can't wait for you guys to see all the new bits and pieces that have been added to the stream, and well. Starting off with our formation lap, and Janneman, I'm going to give you the honors of taking us through.
So I'll be the first one to butcher all the new surnames. Right, leading out the pack is Ryan Ottens in the Ferrari. He's followed by Christian Venter in second place. Third place, Mac van der Merwe. Fourth, Jason McGregor. Then Gideon Renner, another Porsche. Daniel de Martels Prieto. Brandon Kruger, then 8th place Kuketso Pilani, 9th place Essie Esterhazy, Paul Gerber making his return in 10th place. Then in 11th place we've got Sanjan Pillay in the new Ferrari, 12th place Johan Kleinans, 13th place Cameron de Bastos, 14th place Ruben Venter. Then we move on to 15th place is Mattia Musa, 16th place John Leroux, 17th place we got Ronaldo Boersma, 18th place Hannes van Wyk, 19th place Conrad Volskink, 20th Johan van der Merwe, 21st place Justin Lotus, 22nd place Kurt Glashagen, then 23rd Darren Miller, 24th place Daniel de Villiers, 25th place we've got Jason Amsmeyer, 26th place we've got Werner Skuman, 27th Andre Serradio, 28th Quan Duplessis, 29th Sebastian Mashichu, 30th place is Romano Jonker, 31 Tina Nkubi, 32nd is Cabello Motsamai, 33rd place Dean Kabasa, 34th Hansi Mayberg, 35th place Tinus Botha, 36th Jandre Botha, then 37th Eric Kirstein, 38th Guillaume Mouton, 39th place we've got Graham Moore, and 40th place we've got Jaco Grobler. And now I'm out of breath, Stephen. The rest of the commentary session is yours.
not lining that one up at all, but absolutely phenomenal stuff. And as they start making their way through, well done. You managed to get it before there was a
before the end of the formation. Yeah, before the end of the formation lap.
That's it. I'm impressed. I'm really, really impressed. Congratulations. But it's going to be an exciting run down to the wire, and all the pressure goes on to Ryan Ottens. Daniel Petro is going to be watching in his mirrors intently of everything that is going on. We got one mandatory stop, ladies and gentlemen, to deal with. How this is all going to work out, well, we're about to find out. Because for round number 1 of the RaceFace Sprint Series, Season 9 is about to kick off here at Imola as we make our way through. Ryan Ottens, Christian Venter, they leading out the pack. Mac van der Merwe going to be hunting him down. Gideon Reyna as well joined in 4th place. Jason McGregor hoping to get a little bit more of a jump as they make their way down to the line. 70 kilometers now. Do not go any faster than this, otherwise you're incurring a major penalty. You can see brake lights on, just guys trying to slow themselves down, get within it. We're waiting for the green light. Jim is on the mic, waiting to shout green to everyone. Jim, it's over to you to shout green. Anytime now. Would be great. Come on, Jim. We got this. I believe in you. There we go. And away we go. Heading through turn 1 as our drivers really stomp their way through. Christian Venter off to a great start, trying to go around the outside. Does look like Ryan Otten's getting a little bit swamped. Dives up on the inside, managing to get by. Goes and overshoots, and he's off. Christian Venter also goes off. Both of them in the weeds. Mac van der Merwe jumping up into 1st place, and followed by Gideon Reyna, Jason McGregor, Daniel Dematro Petro also off to a little bit of a rough stuff. Brendan Kruger, but it looks like Hannes van Wyk also involved in the battle. Ronaldo Busma getting a bit caught out, and Conrad Volskink also just trying to pull his way through. But busy field out there, Joneman.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The guys are jockeying for positions. We see a little bit of contact there. Was it between Volskink and De Villiers? But, Stephen, that comes to be expected with 40 plus cars on the grid. Turn 1, I'm calling it turn 1. I know it's not entirely turn 1. Cold tires, coldish brakes. Misjudging the brake marker where the cars are braking just slightly, and contact might happen. As we see a whole bunch of Porsches. I mean, the top three cars are all Porsches jockeying for position. Renner and Van der Merwe, they all over each other, going over those sausage curbs, not unsettling the cars too much. Running down to the final 2 corners and onto the pit straight again. Slipstreaming definitely is going to be something around here with that very long, call it a pit straight, even though it isn't straight. Stephen, and a lot of overtaking might actually happen at that first chicane.
Well, some big movers and shakers for the start of the season, and unfortunately, Venter and the likes of Ryan Ottens just dropping way down the field, now having to try and figure their way through the whole battle. And this is what can happen. You can have a fantastic race, but as we see, Kleinans feeling the pressure from Leroux as Leroux tries to make his way around him, and really just slinging it in as we see one of the Ferraris coming off, and that's actually Sanjan Pillay from the Hybrid Academy team landing off into the dirt.
Not a contact.
Contact just ahead. And that's Ronaldo Busma that got caught out and got some extensive damage to the car. Let's actually go back about 30 seconds and see what happened. That looks to be Musa next to him. So Busma versus Musa, BMW versus Porsche. Porsche trying to go a little bit later on the brakes, entering in the corner, hops over the curb slightly, jumps back, gets a bit of a tank slapper, still keeping side by side. Well done with those two running over the curbs, and looks like the BMW just got a bounce off the sausage curbs, and unfortunately sending the Porsche hard into the wall, dropping him down into 19th place at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that Porsche will not be happy. You see it squirming there as it go through Acca Minerali. So I think that might be a pit stop in the making for him to get that damage sorted and get that car back out. Luckily in the race, Stephen, there is actually a pit stop. So if you need to make one, there is actually a little bit of room if you've got damage, and you won't lose as much time as you would have lost on the previous seasons.
That's it, and Kuketo Polani trying to make his way up. He's got Kleinans behind him. Kleinans is definitely not on the phone at the moment to chat to us. I think he's a little bit focused chasing down these two as Kuketo Polani gets into the tow. Daniel trying to do everything he can, looks to try and defend the inside line as they go hard onto the brakes. It does look like they've caught up to the back markers. The blue flags being waved as they make their way through. The Aston Martin having to take a little bit of evasive maneuvering as makes his way around. So the battle is going all the way through, but if we drop down to 21st position, I mean, that's right the way back. Quan Duplessis, a new name that has joined the RaceFace, going and duking out with Miller, and he's got Romano Jonker now onto the back of him. And Romano really focusing on the charge, trying to get by, hard onto the brakes, sliding the car around, doing everything he can. A little bit further back, Tini and Kube having to deal with Dean Kabasa as the Espinelli Esports. And we spoke about Mr. Sebastian going and sitting on the sideline drinking his apple juice. He's keeping an eye on the Benelli Esports team as they make their way through. But it's just battle after battle. But Ryan Otten's, after dropping way down into 40th place after his unfortunate start to the race, he's down into... looks to be 30th place, heading into trying to head towards 29th at the moment as he slings by. Yep, jumps into 29th place. So he is chasing after the line a little bit ahead as our leaders make their way through. It does look like Conrad Volskink, though, having a bit of contact.
Oh, another car off there in the background.
I think that is Hannes van Wyk. No, that's not Hannes van Wyk. That's... that might have been Mashago. There it is. Yep, Mashago was the one that was put into the wall. And Hannes van Wyk also coming into the pit. So a little bit of contact happening around. But to be expected with the amount of vehicles out on the circuit and all these drivers jostling to go for the top podium position, all looking to get a great start to the championship. And I mean... what else can you do at this point other than really stick it in and get going as hard as possible?
I mean, absolutely. Give it your all. Give it the beans, as they say. It is not a long race. 55 minutes is not a long time. And you mentioned a couple of the new guys coming in. They definitely want to stake their claim in this series. Stephen, just something I want to touch on. You mentioned Jan Kleinhans, and... he's gone quiet since the race started. Definitely not chatting, but he was chatting before the race, and he said he's actually got a bit of an issue with his car. He says that his car is not living up with his talent, so he's struggling a bit with the car at this moment.
Take it back to Mercedes. Just take it back. It's defective. Send
defective.
It's defective. Send it back. Absolutely hilarious. Sanjin Pillay trying to put a little bit of pressure on as he's going after the teammate of Jan Kleinhans, which is SESA, just ahead. The two Ferraris battling it out. But Sanjin, who is on a monstrous charge at the moment, he's doing everything he can. But he's got Ruben Fenter going and making his way through. And this is one thing you also want to just kind of lean on a little bit, is the new Porsche. A lot of people have been complimenting the Porsche, saying it is rather difficult, but as you brought up, does resemble the GTE in terms of sound and the way it drives. A little bit of a battle going on as Brandon Kruger makes his way around the circuit, really leaning on the pressure, trying to move forward and get back onto the throttle. So let's see how it's all going to work out for him as he gets onto the gas. And as he makes his way around, got Brandon Kruger. Then we've got Mac van der Merwe. It does seem like we've unfortunately lost our dear friend Janneman at the moment.
No, you haven't lost me.
Oh, there we go. I thought.
No, I just had to make a quick adjustment. Sorry, you were talking about the Porsche being more like the GTE one.
Was the quick adjustment just creating a smoke screen?
No,
not yet.
No, it was a chair adjustment.
For anyone that doesn't know, Janneman has upgraded his seat from a fiberglass seat to a one that can recline. So if we start hearing snoring, just understand that he's got himself nice and comfortable.
Yeah, the racing is not interesting enough, so I decided to take a bit of a snooze. We all know that's never going to happen.
No, not at all. Not with the amount of drivers we got here, and also the talent that's currently out on circuit, and it's been a phenomenal one. But let's take our hats off. Kilian Reina up into first place with Brandon Kruger in third. Brandon Kruger in second. Mac van der Merwe in third. Got Paul Gerber trying to chase him down in the Aston Martin. Jason McGregor into fifth. Koketso Polani, Daniel Dematros Petro, Jean Leroux, Johan Kleinhans, Essie Esterhuis actually managing to get a little bit more of a run. Sanjin Pillay trying to do everything he can to get back into that tow to go and claw his way into the top 10. But this is how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. It's all or nothing. But Paul Gerber started in 10th, up 7 positions from where he started. Brandon Kruger is up 5, and Gideon Rayner up 4 positions. Andre Serradio, just want to point out, and
Please sponsor.
I actually...
I just noticed it. Please sponsor. Well, he's sponsored by Please Sponsor. Please sponsor here.
Sorry, Project Vapor. Guys, that's absolutely brilliant.
I'm just gonna put it out there. That's such a team heap together thing to do.
He's up 13 positions. Romano Jonker up 13 positions. Trying to get myself back together. I do apologize, folks. Tinny and Kruger.
There was a car on the left hand side. One of the PWSR cars went off.
Oh, try and see who it is. Andre Serradio wasn't part of that battle. Was it Maton? That might have been landing up with the issue. A couple of guys have actually managed to do their pit stops to get it out the way, and hoping to move forward. But while we keeping an eye on this, let's go and bring up something to also make life a little bit more exciting. Let's actually take a look at a head-to-head battle that's going on. John LaRue down in Sector 3, trying to get a little bit more of a run. It does look like Kleinans is a little bit quicker, but LaRue getting a little bit more drive at the moment as they chase down. Maeth Musa trying to also play a little bit of catch-up as well. So very, very interesting times are at hand at the moment, as Kleinans has been on a bit of a roll. He's been up all 3 sectors. Jean LaRue was down a sector, now looking to try and improve as we watch the head-to-head. Keketso Polani was actually down in Sector 3 by a point, about 1 second, and Jean LaRue was 0.3. So it does kind of tell a story of wear and tear starting to kick in. We do know with the new version update, with the racing, the guys are having to work out the tire pressures. It's a little bit more forgiving. If you go for lower tire pressures, you can get more grip, but it does increase heat and increase degradation, and go the other way around as well. So that's all things the guys have got to be careful of, but they've also got to be very mindful of the fuel usage that comes into play. 55 minutes, a little bit longer than last season, but also having to go and deal with that pit stop. A lot of the drivers are having to think out the box of when they are going to pit.
I mean, absolutely. And I was just thinking about something. Imola is one of those circuits that lends itself towards 2 different setups. I mean, you've got I'm not going to say vast majority of the track, but you've got the section where corner or mechanical grip is very important, aerodynamic grip, but then you're sitting with that very long pit straight that isn't straight. So, Stephen, what do you go for? Do you go for a lower kind of downforce setup to have the speed down this long straight? Or are you going to go for more downforce, which is going to hinder you on the straight, but it's going to help you through the corners? It might result you being a sitting duck, as we have at Quentin Duplessis. He is battling it out with Miller. I mean, they are looking fairly evenly matched. Having a look on the inside, is it going to make it? No, it isn't.
Yeah, a little bit overzealous in terms of the pass, jumping over the curbs and falling out. No, didn't quite go to plan. Well, I think it's going to be an interesting one for everyone.
As he runs wide again through the Villeneuve chicane, he's definitely hurt those tires a little bit. Might have built up some excess heat in them, so he's struggling with grip. So the 2 PWSR Lamborghinis are all over him at this stage. He's managed to stay in front of them, but I don't think they're going to be too happy at this stage.
No, Miller is keeping ahead, but also 2.1 seconds behind is Jason Abschmeyer, and I quite like it. PMP no name, just going out there. Jason Abschmeyer used to be part of the WRG team. For anyone that's the old school guys that know, WRG was a team that lurked around for a long time, went fighting for championships, really did well actually, and unfortunately seem to have fallen to the wayside. Hopefully we'll get the WRG team back. I'm really positive to see it, considering esports moving forward. See Paul Gerber getting ahead of Brandon Kruger getting ahead of Paul Gerber So Brandon Kruger really into a monstrous fight. Paul Gerber taking the fight, a real fight to him. Mac van der Merwe also trying to get in, goes up on the inside, trying to go a little bit later on the brakes, sticks it, tries to make it work, but just not able to get it out. I mean, Porsche versus Aston, and what's going to work around Imola? Well, we're about to find out.
Have you seen the rotation on the Porsche through that second part of the Villeneuve chicane? I mean, it just looked like that car was absolutely planted to the tarmac. He was offline on the marbles, but yet the car just stuck with him.
It dealt with it.
It dealt with it.
It dealt with it. It's the only way you can say. It dealt with it.
Yeah, Paul Gerber really doing well, currently third place. But, as you said, he's got Mac van der Merwe all over the rear end of that Aston Martin. I'm pretty sure Mac van der Merwe is quite liking how the Porsche is driving at this stage.
Definitely rather exciting to see the guys working a little bit harder than planned. And once again, none of them have pitted. Paul Gerber, Gideon Reyna, Brandon Kruger, Mac van der Merwe, Daniel Demetrios Petra, Jason McGregor, Koketso Polani, and the list goes on and on and on. Guys have not pitted. And they're going to have to pit at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the strategy, and this is where somebody that's talking in your ear, if you have it, can really help you to try and find out, if you do a pit stop, how much time you're going to lose and where you're going to filter out, because we've mentioned it, strategy is part of the game. Now, as we have a look at Gerber going around the outside of one of the back marker cars.
That's Brandon Kruger for second place.
Sorry.
That's for second place, and Paul Gerber tried his luck, lost out. Mac van der Merwe got the better drive and starts getting past him at a rate of knots. Paul Gerber actually losing out that little bit of drive, and Mac van der Merwe just lined himself up just right to get it. And Daniel Demetrios Petra now seeing a ailing Paul Gerber at the moment and also trying to get a little bit more into it. Tim, the cameraman, still hasn't forgotten to film the trees and the grass and the bushes, and we shouldn't have sent him to the Kruger National Park, just saying.
We're also paying him too little. But I'm just afraid Paul Gerber might not, he was in third place, but he might now, fall back into the clutches of the likes of the Martos Preto and even Jason McGregor further down the road, not too far away as Koketso Pilani. So he's going to have his hands full now that Mac van der Merwe got past him, and Mac van der Merwe has got set his sights on Brandon Kruger. I got a bit caught off guard there, Stephen. I mean, they gained on Brandon Kruger at such a pace, I almost thought it was one of the backmarker cars.
Well, that's it. I mean, Brandon Kruger had a little bit of a mistake, lost out a bit of time, and now it's all about trying to push back. And as we can see, Daniel up on the inside, very difficult to do it through there, but trying his luck all the same. And I've got to say, absolutely phenomenal stuff to see the guys really pushing as hard as they can. And, well, it's just one we look forward to every single time.
I mean, absolutely, that Ferrari tucking into the slipstream of the Aston, but, couldn't make it stick at this stage. It does look like that Aston got a fair bit of pace down the straight, so Paul managed to keep in front, running wide again, and it's going to cost him dearly again. Second time in 2 laps that he's made a mistake, Steve.
And Daniel managing to get by. Jason McGregor now onto the charge. Paul starting to feel the pressure. And I think there's some beautiful words being said underneath that helmet. Jason McGregor now feeling Koketso Polani is going to try and push him through. This little train is starting to develop. And a little bit further down, Christian Venter was part of an accident earlier on. Now up against Guillaume Mouton. So he's also making a bit of headway as they make their way through. So it's really, really good to see. Even down in 30th position, guys are still in some proper banger of fights. And, well, it leaves me excited to see how the season's going to go.
I mean, absolutely. With 40-plus cars on the grid, you're going to have battles up and down the field. And as you said, it makes you excited for things to come. The sprint series that lies ahead, 7 more races after this one. And also then the Metal State Championship that's starting tomorrow evening. I think we're in for kind of a heated season. And by heated, I'm talking heated battles, close battles up and down the field. And all about the action.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. But let's actually take a look. Brandon Kruger getting a little bit more of a drive on Mac van der Merwe. Mac van der Merwe losing out, and we're gonna utilize this head-to-head a little bit just to give us a bit of an insight as Mac van der Merwe trying to get a little bit more of a run. He's down on his last. He's trying to improve it. Brandon giving him a difficult time as they make their way through turn 4. Tamburello being one of those difficult corners to just try and get right. Brandon Kruger was a little bit quicker than his last. So was Mac van der Merwe as he gets right behind him into turn 6, hard onto the throttle. And now it's trying to pull himself along. It actually slowed up a little bit, and that allowed the Ferrari of Daniel Petro to get a little bit closer. And Paul Gerber also dropping further down into the clutches of the fight. So the guys are really doing everything they can. But this race for second place, 35 minutes in. Remember, they've got a pit window of 34 minutes that they have to get it right. And that's where it starts getting a little bit more, well, exciting. Because you're going to have to get that pit stop within the pit window. You're going to have to get 1 liter in the car and back out before you can even get yourself sorted. So that's also a consideration that these drivers are going to have to feel, and how much pain are they putting through the tires at the moment. If you want to talk about testing the new physics of what the cars are doing, bouncing up and down over the curbs is definitely not going to be great to see. And I see Paul Gerber just dropping a little bit further back. Serradio, there we go.
Talk about track limits.
Track limits coming into play. So Serradio, who is down in 14th place, saying with his please sponsor here, the Project Vapor team, unfortunately having to get a little bit sorted out. And
I suppose, doing a drive-through is a great way of getting slow shots of the car for your sponsors. That's one way of doing it.
That's it. And there he is coming into the pits. There we go. Let's stay on that shot for him. 50 k's an hour as he comes by. There we go. Thanks, Tim. Really appreciate it. Back up to the front. So it's all heating up here. Daniel Petro getting by. Paul Gerber down doing battle. Mac van der Merwe actually dropping down the list. And Mac van der Merwe now into the clutches. Looks like caught behind back markers has impacted everyone.
It looks like lap 1 almost.
It's a total gaggle out there. Mac trying to do everything he can. Keketso Polani going after Jason McGregor, and it just shows you how the grid can change, especially with so many cars out there. It is a challenge for it, and honestly, you can be fast, you can hot lap as much as you want, but when you get traffic in front of you, there was a bit of contact there. Mac van der Merwe going into the back of one of the cars, and just trying to see, that might be Eric Kirstein that took the hit. So Kirstein, unfortunately, getting a little bit of a helping hand to go extra 3 kilometers faster than expected, losing out. Mac van der Merwe getting there. But Jason McGregor getting chased down by Keketso Polani. Jean Leroux trying to capitalize on it. Johan van der Merwe also into a battle. He's going after Mahath Musa. So, I mean, it's just, you don't know where to look.
Just put it on auto cam, then we'll just commentate on what's on the screen.
I think Tim will get very confused at this point. There's just so much going on. Brandon Kruger up into second place.
Might look more at the trees than anything else.
Oh, that's it. He's going to look at the birds and the bees. As he makes his way through, Daniel Petro now got Paul Gerber around the outside of him through turn 3 and makes it stick. Well done.
So it certainly does look like Paul has recomposed himself a little bit, and he's getting back into the fight where, in the previous couple of laps he did make 1 or 2 mistakes. It's good to see him settling down again and taking the fight to the likes of Brandon Kruger and Matos Preto. But Steven, still 32 minutes to go. Anything can happen here. You've mentioned a lot of people. Well, basically the top 20 still need to make pit stops. Now we need to think, how late are the guys going to leave it? At this stage, for me personally, if I was in a battle like this, I'm going to stick right until the end and put at the very last lap, because, you might just fall back into the clutches of another battle. So rather stick with the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Well, that's it. And you're trying to work your way through the cars, as we see Johan van der Merwe actually trying to make up ground on the back of Mahath Musa with the Ferrari actually going side by side, hard onto the brakes. No one's going to give over the sausage curbs. Ooh, I think he had a marshal giving him a warning there. There's definitely a bit of chatting there for the ZRC Scuderia team. Johan van der Merwe doing everything he can, and I know that maybe we should give Kleinans a call and just let him know his teammates are hopping curbs a little bit too much.
Can you just comment on that for us, please? I think he's a bit busy at this stage. So we have a look at Koketso Pilani. He's making his way, duking it out with Jason McGregor, and just in front of Jason McGregor is Mac van der Merwe. You know, these guys are absolutely going at it hammer and tongs. But Stephen, I want to say something. These Porsches, they look like they've got some serious pace to them, where the previous Porsche lacked a little bit of straight line speed. It doesn't look like it's affecting the new Porsche all of that much.
Definitely pushing the boundaries a bit, and we're looking forward to seeing how it's all going to travel out. And just
Jason McGregor going very defensive there through the hairpin, but you know, Pilani is sticking right to the rear wing of that Porsche, deciding not to look on the inside there. Safer to follow through this section leading down to the Aqua Minerale, and then maybe lining him up for a pass at the hairpin. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a proper run, as I see a couple of guys having a bit of difficulty with the stream, so do apologize, guys. Busy looking at the moment, trying to figure out what exactly is going out, so I do apologize for it.
Right, I'm going to keep an eye out on the action. Have a look at Koketso Pilani. He's lost a little bit of ground to Jason McGregor through this section. The Porsche coping with the tights and twisties. Looks like it's coping a little bit better than the big Mercedes. But let's see if the Merc can come back at him down the straight. As Jason McGregor, he is not too far behind Mac van der Merwe as well. So it's starting to turn out to almost be a three-way battle with Leroux also not too far behind. He's going to see if he can close the gap on this battle while the guys are duking it out. But Jason McGregor getting very close now to the back of Mac van der Merwe, and Koketso Pilani trying to close that gap down. Merc has certainly lost a little bit of ground over the course of the last lap. The two Porsches almost looked like McGregor got a little bit sideways there. No, he didn't. Koketso Pilani closing right up on Jason McGregor. But at this stage, not able to make his way through. Ran a little bit wide there onto the grass. Might hurt his run up to the fast left-hander a little bit. But at this stage, still sticking to the back of that Porsche.
Well, hopefully that's a little bit better. I do apologize for it.
Did you put it in supercharge mode?
I've tried pushing it up a little bit, and I think
McGregor ran wide there. Koketso Pilani getting past him, but it looks like McGregor's going to come right back at him. No, he doesn't. Sorry to interrupt you, Steve.
No problem. All the action is what counts. I think maybe the PC is running a little bit too high. Then I got a little bit too excited in the settings. But with 40 cars on the grid, I don't blame it. I really don't. Brandon Kruger catching up to Daniel Dematras Petro, doing everything he can to get into the tire, really pulling himself along and hoping to get a little bit more of a charge now onto the main straight, really tucking it in, getting a little bit more of a drive, and just looks to the inside, gets squeezed off. He's looking very aggressively.
I think there was a little bit of contact there, or was it that...
I think
it was a Kruger that touched the grass.
I think it's more of a drop of a wheel, but let's see if we can go back about 30 seconds and just get a rough idea of what happened. And let's actually go to Tim in the helicam. Thank you, Tim.
You see if he touched the grass there on the left-hand side, or was there a little bit of contact between the cars?
We're about to see it now. It goes for aggressive left-hand side, gets very close. Oh, no, that was contact. That was just a... The toe was just too much. The toe was just a little bit too much there. A slight contact between the two ended up with a little bit of a bump. But positions managed to be maintained. But Brandon Kruger is going to be, I think, waving his finger just a little bit.
Yeah, that's all's well that ends well. So at this stage, it's still ending well. We'll see in a couple of laps' time as these two duke it out.
And not far behind, take a look. Oh! Okay, right. We just switched to the cameras right at the most frightening moments. We talked about having a great battle, And let's actually go to the helicam because that looked like a whole mess between the likes of Daniel Demetrius-Petro. He goes into the corner and gets a little bit sideways over the sausage curves. And just trying to maintain his way through at this point as they get a little bit more of a drive hard onto the brakes. Contact from behind is what went and twisted him around. And everyone having to take evasive maneuvers as they get out the way. Definitely a very exciting time. Hopefully the stream is a little bit better. I do apologize once again, guys, but 40 cars and 1440p. Yeah, I think little 3050 is punching a bit above its belt at the moment, but we'll get it sorted out for next time.
So at this stage, Gideon Renner and Paul Gerber decided to make their pit stops. So they are dropping down the field. Would be interesting to see where they filter out, as we've got Jason Amsmeyer in the pits as well. So the guys with 25 minutes to go, they a couple of pit stops happening. So they've kind of splitting the race into two halves.
That's it, and a little shot of our pit lane as the guys made their way through. But it does show a very interesting story for everyone as we take a look at our ladder at the moment. Brandon Kruger up in first place, Mac van der Merwe in third, second, Kuketso Polani in third, Jason McGregor, Johan van der Merwe, Sanjan Pillay up into sixth, seventh place is Daniel Demetrius-Petro, followed by Kurt Glaskin, Essie Esterhuis, Dean Kabase in the top 10, followed by Tinian Kube, Werner Skuman, Miller, all needing to pit, but yet they are so close to one another. It's a gamble. It's a proper gamble for every single person out there. And also taking a look, Kleinland's actually having enough time to drop us a message.
Traffic sucks.
There we go.
It's like, rush hour on the N1 highway between Pretoria and Midrand.
Gooley's interchange.
Yeah, Galuli's.
Go on Gooley's interchange. That will tell the story. Jason McGregor, Kuketso Polani going side by side, hard onto the brakes. In and really slinging it, but it does look like Jason McGregor was able to keep control of the car, but Kuketso Polani on a monstrous charge at the moment, trying to claw his way through. Sanjan Pillay going and landing up in the pits, so he's dropping way down the order. So he's decided to...
Is he taking tyres? Why is the car getting lifted?
Well, it is 11 seconds in the pits, 12, and... well,
that's a bit long for fuel.
I think it's a little bit too long, actually, but let's actually take a look. So far, who managed to get in and out of the pits is Christian Venter, and he's only been stopped in the box for 5.9 seconds, so that's just fuel. But this is where it gets a lot longer for everyone. From start of pit lane, box, and out, took him 42.9 seconds.
Yeah, it's a long pit lane.
If you think about it, these chaps, Brandon Kruger, his best lap time, 142.3 so far in the race. Mac van der Merwe, 141.8. Their last lap times were 43s. It's literally eating into a lap.
Oh, a bit sideways there for Van der Merwe.
So Van der Merwe trying to keep it all together. Kuketso Polani right behind him. Jason McGregor also doing everything he can to get back into the fight. Darren Miller looks like he's heading into the pits. Or he landed up with a problem. Nope. Darren Miller deciding to put on a fresh set of Pirellis by the looks of it.
Additional sponsors.
He's got a set of Pirellis on the car at the moment. So guys are having to work their way through. Oh! Contact, Mac van der Merwe, Jason McGregor, all of them having a bit of a run too. But
that's a perfect 360 you did there.
Let's actually go up from Tim the cameraman again and just see Kuketso Polani got T-boned by Mac van der Merwe. It does look like there was a little bit of a run up from the Porsche. Dives up, Mac van der Merwe stuck in the middle, P in the middle, trying to make his way through. Slight contact between the two over the rumble strips and contact. So, I mean, once you hit those sausage curbs, you're a passenger. You've welcome to your latest flight. Hope you enjoy salted peanuts. I think it's
clear for takeoff.
That's it.
I mean, all resulted from the initial contact, pushing the Porsche a little bit wide, as you said, over those sausage curbs, and that's all she wrote.
That's it. And just a little bit of an interesting one. Sanjan Pillay actually going into the chat and gave us a little bit of an explanation why he had a sudden pit stop. Yes.
It's happened to the best of us.
So, just to give people a bit of an understanding, Sanjan Pillay, who is he's a very experienced driver to the world of sim racing, very experienced in terms of his photography, goes into it, and knows what to do. Unfortunately, when that fuel light starts glowing redder and redder and redder, it's all fantastic, but the moment it turns off, that's when you got a problem, because it was on for a reason, and Sanjan Pillay learned that it was on for a reason. So, interesting.
Sanjay, can I tell you my story? When we did grading for tomorrow evenings and tonight's races,
I thought it was going to be the Kalami where you ran out of fuel just out of the pits.
No, this one's better than that. So I did my grading, I calculated all my fuel and all of that, and I ran out of fuel on the last corner of the last lap as I accelerated to the line.
Don't have that problem when you're too slow. Keketso Polani in the pits, Gideon Rayner and Paul Gerber getting by. And Ryan Ottens, take my hats off to Ryan Ottens, he's made up a load of time. And Keketso Polani, stop-go penalty, that means he went out of gear a little bit too early. But Ryan Ottens, who dropped down to 41st position, has brought himself back up to 14th position.
That's a brilliant comeback drive that he's on. That takes some doing, Stephen.
It's no easy feat. I don't think anyone can shout for that one. There is no easy feat to do so. And we take a look at Gideon Rayner, Paul Gerber. Gideon Rayner keeping Paul Gerber honest. But, you take a look, the Aston Martin came out, 2019 the spec.
Yeah.
So it's 2019 chassis. You've got a 2023 Porsche that's going around him. And that Aston is still able to take the fight, which is absolutely phenomenal stuff. But that's old tech right there. There's no niceties to it. And he's managing to take the fight to the Porsche. The Porsche being a little bit more of a difficult car. The GT3 actually not having ABS. Because, wait. In real life, it ain't got no ABS. Makes things rather exciting for a GT3.
You're talking about the road car?
The GT3 car. They literally
Porsche.
they take the ABS out of it.
Okay.
Good to know, hey?
I thought it was only the Cup cars or certain versions of the Cup cars that didn't have ABS.
Certain version of the Cup cars, they don't have ABS, but they also did it to the GT3. Don't know why, but they did. It's weird.
Maybe it's got enough grip not to have ABS.
If you're using your ABS, you're driving the Porsche wrong. maybe that's the story. Cameron DeBastos, part of Evolved Racing, Phoenix, having the likes of Ryan Ottens all over the back of them, the Hybrid Academy, going and doing everything he can to try and claw his way back through the field and hoping to get a little bit more of a charge. It does look like Ruben Fenter, though, off into the dirt. And I picked that one up a little bit late. Let's actually go back a little bit. I think he just hooked one of the sausage curbs. A little bit of rotation underneath the Porsche, over the curbs, gets a bit of a bounce. Not quite the bounce he wants to deal with. Hard under braking, a little bit of slip and slide, and over the curb, a little bit too much on the throttle, and there she twists.
A little bit overzealous.
That's it, and Andre Serradio into the pits as well. He landed up with a bit of an issue. So Andre Serradio dropping a little bit further down. And has actually done 2 pit stops. So Andre Serradio's 2 times. And he was in the box for about 15 seconds. Interesting one. Kirk Loshkin into the pits. First of our top 10s, and Christian Fenter now coming by. Tini and Kube also leading a bit of a charge as well. Gideon Rayner coming past, and that's going to allow Paul Herbert to get a little bit closer. Gideon Rayner also doing a little bit of a battle at the moment, trying to hang it all together as he makes his way around one of the back markers at this point, and not leaving too much room for the imagination. Paul Herbert also starting to catch up to the back markers. Kirk Glashkin getting out of the pits, and he's going to be having a Ryan Ottens and Daniel Demetrios-Petro getting by. These two, though, Daniel Demetrios-Petro, Ryan Ottens, I think is a little bit of a history between the two, and it's now coming to blows once again. And Ryan Ottens starting to feel the pressure. The Espanelli Esports Ferrari really putting on a charge. So I think I'm getting that right. I don't know. I think I'm getting the name right, but we'll have to keep an eye on the battles as I go through. A little bit further down, 30th and 31st, got to show a little bit of love. Eric Costa, Kriya Mouton going in, battling out. Kriya Mouton, new to the PWSR team, battling after the veteran TTHR car, the team Try Hard Racing, as they go and make their way around the circuit. They landed up with a little bit of the front runners causing a bit of a hassle, and now they're just trying to keep it all together. Darren Miller moving his way up, also new to the PWSR team, but great battles all around. And I see Alan Patterson also out on the circuit. He's chasing down his teammates. Alan Patterson's a little bit further down, but wow, I just want to point this out. LaRue with a disqualification.
That's interesting.
To score a disqualification is you scored a drive-through penalty and did not serve it. Huh. Now, it's going to be an interesting one. And Gabriel DeSantos actually going and jumping in. It's only for the meantime, but it does have ABS Porsche during the first endurance race at Monza. Stated they had to figure out the issue, so once it's done, ABS will return. Sorry, my friend, you got a problem with your brakes, so we're just gonna disconnect this.
We're just gonna disconnect. You gotta do what?
It's
especially at Monza. You're gonna do what at Monza?
So, due to the problem, they have decided not to have ABS until it's fixed. Gabriel, thank you very much for the insights. I love our comments. There's just a world of things coming in. Jude Neville actually saying software issues in real life, so that's why they turned it off. And I just love it. I absolutely love it when the guys can give us a bit of an insight. And well, I wouldn't like to be the Porsche driver that found that out on the day.
No. But as we have a look at this, Duplessis is all over the back of De Villiers, and
De Villiers actually got a little bit of damage on his car, and just not having the straight line compared to the two Ferraris. But Ramona Yonko are now looking to get the fight up to De Villiers. So interesting battle that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The damage on the front of that Lambo is going to hurt it down the straight. So we'll have to see what happens when they come by next time around. But certainly a very close battle as we have a look at De Villiers and Duplessis, and Yonka just behind. Yonka gaining on De Villiers. I think De Villiers might be in a little bit of trouble here, and he's already done his pit stop, Stephen. So there's no going back in the pits and losing as least time as possible. It's going to hurt him to do another pit stop, so he will have to stick it out for the remainder of these 12 minutes.
Knowledge is power, Gabriel. Knowledge is power. You can never have enough. But, I mean, just take a look at the... Ramona Yonka is a little bit slower in Sector 1. Sector 2, he was okay. Daniel De Villiers trying everything he can to keep up the momentum at this point and just try and keep that car going. But for how long that damage is going to affect him. A little bit further up, we've got Ryan Ottens and Daniel Demetrios-Petro still going at each other. They're 7th and 8th. But let's go through who's where at the moment. Let's go and pay the bills in terms of it. Brandon Kruger up into first place, and he's making a great run for the KSR Prism team. Jason McGregor he's into the pits. Mac van der Merwe also coming into the pits. Christian Fenter, would you like to join in the pits as well? No, you've actually pitted. So he's going to go and clear past 2nd and 3rd. Gideon Rayner out in 4th. Paul Herber in 6th. 7th is Ryan Ottens, Daniel Demetrius-Petro, Kurt Gloshkin, Cameron de Bastos, followed by Jan van der Merwe, Mahath Musa, Dean Kabasa, Werner Skuman, Essie Essays, Conrad Fosking, Jean-Ray Bertha, Tini Nkube, Johan Kleinans, Andre Seradio, Jason Abschmeyer into that fight with Seradio, Tienes Bertha, Ruben Fenter, Quinn Duplessis. Very impressed by the new driver getting out there and really putting his elbows out. Daniel De Villiers, Ramona Yonka, Darren Miller, Graham Moll, Justin Lotus, Krian Mouton, Hansi Myberg, Jaco Krobler, Alan Patterson is leading out in, rounding out in 33. Sanjan Pillay, Jean Leroux, Cabello Machola. I do apologize. Mutsamai. I do apologize. I saw J. I don't know why I saw J, but I did see a J for the music ANG, so I do apologize for that. But absolutely incredible stuff out there. Started with 41 cars. Yes, the race has taken its toll. Take a look. Mac van der Merwe's got a 32nd.
Oh, that's going to hurt his race. I mean, that's a full-blown pit stop, tyre change, everything that he's got there that he's going to fall back on. So, he's going to fall back down the field, and that's going to allow the likes of Glassacher and the Bastos, Van der Merwe, Musa, Kabasa, all of them they're going to make their way around him. So he's going to drop Stephen right down to about 20th place, it looks like, if he does that stop-and-go penalty. The field is by no means spread out. There's still battles up and down the field. Very close racing with 9 minutes or just under 10 minutes to go. This is by no means done.
That's a ball in the wrong direction. That's made life a bit interesting.
That's a oopsie.
Maton, unfortunately, having a bit of an awful mistake. And let's actually take a look at what happens. So, as he makes his way through, trying to keep it all together. And everything looks okay at the moment. Really trying to dial that car in. And, it just twists around underneath him into the wall. Unfortunately, too much rotation, and you can see just guys having to take massive maneuvers. He decides to rather just put it into the pits and not interfere with the races at the moment. Just try to get himself sorted and get back out on the circuit. Not the race that he wanted to go, but makes life a bit interesting. This battle's still going on, though, and this is Daniel Demetrius-Petro and Ryan Ottens is our closest duel at the moment between the two of them. Ryan Ottens up into 6th place, Daniel up into 7th at the moment. We do have Mac van der Merwe serving his stop-go. He's down into 17th position. Yikes. Still not even out the pits as yet. Still waiting to get going once again. He's going to lose out a bit of time. But absolutely a great race heading on for the likes of Brandon Kruger, who's now into the pits. Christian Venter trying to make his way through. So Christian Venter trying to really get on the power.
He's on it. You said, 41 seconds to do a pit stop, start to finish?
Yeah, about 41 seconds. So Christian Venter may have just timed it perfectly. Kleinans with a drive-through penalty. Kleinans is watching our stream.
And he's texting and driving again.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think I am going to edit WhatsApp messages on his dash cam. You can see it now. And Kleinans with the drive-through, that's going to hurt him a lot. And I'm sure he's not going to be too happy with that as we take on board with him. Just taking it easy, hard onto the brakes, not trying to jump too much of the curb. Gets a little bit of a slide round, but is keeping it all going. So, not going to be too happy with that drive-through penalty, but the only way you score drive-through is you've been pushing one's luck a little bit too far.
I mean, absolutely. We spoke about it a little bit earlier that Imola is one of the tracks that the track limits can certainly play their part, and we're seeing it. A couple of guys getting drive-throughs as we have a look at Ottens
making McGregor.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like McGregor fought that one too hard, and Daniel now going up on the inside, and I think there's a little bit of talking amongst the team here of Jason, listen, buddy, can you do me a favor?
just hold him up a little bit.
just need to knock off 1.5
But
seconds.
I think at this stage, Ryan Otten is quite surprised about the pace of the Martels Preto because he hasn't been able to pull away from him. And now he's stuck McGregor in between the two of them, and now Daniel needs to make his way around McGregor, which is kind of at this stage finding a little bit difficult. Oh, they were literally millimeters between the cars, and Otten's ran wide.
Don't think that was Otten's. I think that was a little bit further down. That was another Hybrid Academy car.
Wrong Ferrari. There's too many of them.
It's
Lotus.
That's Justin Lotus, who decided to not get involved with that fight and bailed out of it. But let's take a look a little bit further down. It's Jason Abschmeyer, Andre Serradio. So PNP No Name duking out with Project Vapor. Please sponsor here. Car going and duking out. Front engine versus rear engine. The Porsche versus the Mercedes as they come howling down. And Jason Abschmeyer really putting the pressure onto the back of Serradio. But Serradio is just going and saying, listen, you raced here before. You have done a great job, but it's our time now, buddy. You've got to really work for it. So good to see old legends coming back and fighting out with new legends out on the circuit.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And our local texter, Kleinons, sent us a message. He said he got a little bit too excited after he got into clear air after traffic, and that's how he scored his drive-through. So excited that you got a drive-through.
I think we need to
Amsmeyer trying to go around the outside there of Serradio, but
Serradio?
Oh, there he is.
Serradio deciding that he's going to nope this one. And
bailing out of it. For a second I thought he disconnected.
Well, Tim the cameraman was also kind of searching at this point, and I could hear him in the ear going, guys, where must I go? I lost a bright pink Mercedes. So it does look like Ashmar tried to go around the outside. He breaks out of it. Serradio just braking far too late. 25-meter board doesn't work. I've tried it, mate. It doesn't. It's not quite there. Good attempt, though.
Maybe he got confused and still followed the pre-94 layout of Imola there.
Well, that's it. Well, if we were doing the pre-94, it's definitely a high-speed circuit to deal with, as we see Cameron de Bastos and Kurt Glaskin going side by side, trying to tuck their way around and doing an absolutely phenomenal job. But fastest of the race actually set by Gideon Rayner, and take a look, he's up into second place, not far off the back of first Christian Venter. So really trying to put the charge on for the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds of this race. Can you believe it? Round number 1, 55 minutes nearly over, and well, you can never run out of things to say. It's absolutely amazing stuff. Christian Venter trying everything he can.
Drive-through for Daniel.
Daniel landing up with a drive-through, jumping too much on the curb. Gideon Rayner now 0.5, 0.8 dropping down. Paul Herbert trying to play a little bit, but Christian Venter going to run into a little bit of traffic at the moment. He's got to try and suss this out very, very quickly, and that looks to be Werner Skuman and John Roberta, I would think, that's doing it. Could that? Nope, not them. But Christian Venter now trying to figure out where he can go. Blue flags waving, and you could be sure Christian Venter is panicking. Lots of panic at the moment as he has to take evasive maneuvers. Gideon Rayner landing up into the weeds and losing out right at the last. If we go up onto our helicam, let's see what actually happened between it. As we see Christian Venter trying to get a little bit more drive. Gideon Rayner trying to get a little bit closer. Battle of the back markers just ahead of him. Unfortunately, won the Hybrid Academy going and having a little bit of an issue. Slight tap and take the dodge. So really very, very tight racing. Christian Venter able to get going once again, but Gideon Rayner losing out a lot of time. Now the question comes in. Gideon Rayner, he has got a new set of tyres on. He was in the box for 31 seconds, so he's got a fresh set of tyres. Christian Venter has got no tyres, but thanks to that incident, he's managed to accelerate right up ahead, almost 5 seconds. Down in 9th and 8th place, Kirk Lashkin and Jan van der Merwe going and slugging it out. This is going to be a very interesting run for all the cars and is going to set the benchmark for the season. I've got a funny feeling we're about to see strategies changing, weighing up the pros and cons, because Imola is one of the few circuits that just eats life out of your tires.
I mean, absolutely. And we also need to take into consideration that this is the first race on the new format. So they are maybe, experimenting a little bit, if you are willing to take the risk to experiment. But very true what you say, Stephen. Imola very hard on the tires, and interesting to see on this new degradation model. Oof, we see Van der Merwe outbraking himself, causing him to run wide. And
tried his luck and didn't quite work out as planned.
Yeah. And what I wanted to say is we see, even in a 55-minute race, some of the guys taking tires, and the Porsche getting all sorts of squirmy there in the background.
That's Jean-Ray Bertha
losing a little bit of drive out of the chicane, so that's going to hurt his battle with Skuman.
Oh, absolutely. And, well, as you said, it's going to be a bit of a run. It's a guessing game for everyone at this point of what's going to be just right. Taking no tires, putting tires on. But you go a little bit further down. Johan van der Merwe, who's caught up to Kurt Glaskin once again. Kurt has not taken tires. Johan van der Merwe has taken tires. And what's the wear and tear going down to? Tires does seem to be beneficial towards the end of the 55-minute race, but you have to get there first. Christian Venter, though, making his way through. Final couple of corners to go. And for round number 1 is going to be smiling all the way to the bank, as he's going to be taking the checkered flag for round number 1 of Season 9 of the RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series. Going to be absolutely smiling with that one. Kilian Rayner taking 2nd place. 3rd place goes to the mighty Aston Martin. Paul Herber off to a great start for his championship. Brandon Kruger taking 4th. 5th place, Ryan Ottens. And I will say, driver of the day. Started in 1st, landed in the 41st, came in 5th.
Absolutely. That's a real comeback drive from Ryan Ottens. An absolutely amazing race. 6th place goes to Jason McGregor as he makes his way across the line. Then Cameron de Bastos across the line, followed by Glashagen. And then further down the field, Jan van der Merwe, whichever way. And the guys are starting to pile down to the grass. Musa in 10th place. And then Kabasa in 11th. S-Razen in 12th. Full skink coming across the line. Steven, this is how close the field is. Marcus Petro across the line.
He's Werner Skuman coming here, making his way through. Jean-Ray Bertha coming through. Tinian Kube out in 17th place. Jason Abschmeyer in 18th place, and is going to be thinking what needs to be done to that Porsche, and I can't wait to see him going further up. Andre Serradio 19th, Tennis Bertha in 20th, 21st, Ruben Fenter, Quan Duplessis in 22nd place, Darren Miller in 23rd, 24th, Daniel de Villiers, followed by Mac van der Merwe, Johan Kleinans, Graham Moll, Romano Jonker, Justin Lotus, Hansi Myberg going in, finishing up in 30th. Big thank you to Hansi, he's been helping out Bertus in the background. Jaco Krobler, Alan Patterson rounding out in 32nd place. A couple of non-finishers, but all in all, what an exciting... I'm blown away of what we've just seen, and let's cut back to the commentary box. Well, what can you say about what amazing race for round number 1 here at Imola? And for Season 9, 41 cars starting, madness all around. And, well, I've taken my hat off to the entire field. I take my hat off to everyone in RaceFace. This is one of the biggest fields we've seen in a very, very long time.
I mean, absolutely amazing racing, very close racing. We had battles up and down the field, as you said. Up right until the end, we had a close battle for first place. Unfortunately, that not turn out the way we wanted. But that's racing. Looking forward to tomorrow night, Stephen, but unfortunately I won't be in the commentary box with you tomorrow evening.
It's going to be an exciting one, and I mean, wherever you looked, there was tons of racing up and down through the field. It doesn't matter if you're in the top 10, doesn't matter if you're down in 20th place or 30th place. You're in for a fantastic race, and I mean, we're going into a great championship. We're going into a bit of fun. Rather exciting. Tomorrow, the Grid Championship Season 3, brought to you by Metal State and RaceFace. I'm super, super excited for it, considering everything that's gone on, all the work that's going on, and it seems like the new version update has really thrown the cat amongst the pigeons. Next up, we will have Barcelona as we head to round 2. And we will see you next week for the RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series. But make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification icon for all the updates coming through. We love to see the comments. We love to see all the excitement. We look forward to seeing you guys returning once again. And, well, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. For anyone that doesn't know, I will be alone in the commentary box tomorrow because my teammate has decided he's going to take the fight on Imola.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of racing this season. So Stephen will be alone tomorrow evening, and I will be out on track. Bertus, can you do us all a favor? Just let us know in what divisions we're racing.
How many 100 rands is it going to need to get the fastest transponder?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very, very much. Big thank you to all our sponsors, Race Labs, 95 Liveries, Resource Complete, and RaceFace.Pro shop. Thank you very much for all of it. And we'll see you next time, right here, same time, same place. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you tomorrow evening for the Grid Championship Season 3, brought to you by Metal State and RaceFace. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.